Your teen isn't just texting friends. They're managing a 24/7 popularity scoreboard where every like, view, or emoji could make or break their self-worth. They're not being dramatic. Their brain is literally wired to treat a left on red like a rejection because social media turns friendship into a game, and no one gave them the rule book. What looks like an overreaction might actually be pain. In this video, we're going to break down what's actually happening in your kid's social life and how to help them navigate it without burning out, shutting down, or falling into drama spirals. It's not about taking their phone away. It's about helping them feel seen in a world built to monetize their friendships. So before we judge their mood swings or eye rolls over Instagram, let's zoom out and look at the brain science behind the scroll. Because this isn't just attitude, it's architecture. Welcome to the social brain. The scroll brain. Let's start with the obvious. Social media is not evil. It is not inherently corrupt or soulless or dragging us all into moral collapse. But let's also be honest. It is engineered, and it is engineered brilliantly. Apps like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat are not just places to connect or post selfies with sparkly filters. They are complex psychological ecosystems designed by people who understand exactly how to grab and hold attention. Not by accident, but by exploiting the most ancient and emotional parts of the brain. Your kid opens an app, sees a little red dot on their screen, and boom, dopamine. The brain gets a hit of reward. Maybe it's a like. Maybe it's a message. Maybe it's just someone reacting to a story with a fire emoji. Either way, it lights up the reward system the same way slot machines do in casinos. Now, combine that with the fragile, still growing adolescent brain. A brain that's already hypersensitive to peer approval and still learning how to regulate emotion. And what you have is a constant loop of stimulus, wait, react, compare, repeat. When your kid says something like, "She left me on red," you might be tempted to roll your eyes, to brush it off, to think it's not that deep. But for them, it actually is. Because the same neural circuitry that activates when someone experiences physical pain also lights up when they feel ignored, left out, or rejected socially. The number of followers, the number of likes, the timing of comments, the constant display of who is online and who is not. All of this becomes a live leaderboard for belonging. Popularity is no longer an abstract concept. It is literally measured. Your child is now growing up in a world where friendship feels quantifiable. This friendship experience, which used to be a long, slow burn of connection built over time, is now gamified. Even the typing dots in a conversation have been engineered for maximum emotional suspense. You wait, you stare, dots appear, then vanish. No message, and suddenly, spiraling. What were they going to say? Did they delete it? Did I do something wrong? Is this about me? This is what I mean when I say social media is not neutral. It creates a version of reality where everything is social and everything is a signal. And kids, especially younger ones, are not equipped to decode those signals in healthy ways. Attention is not equal to affection. Not everyone who interacts with your kid is their friend, and that's not their fault. Social media blurs the lines. Someone reacts to their story, sends them a heart emoji, comments, slay. It feels like connection, like this person sees me. But just because someone sees your post doesn't mean they actually see you. And if your kid's anything like most kids online right now, they've been trained to treat attention like a stand-in for actual friendship. So one of the best things you can do is help them see the difference. You don't have to give a speech, just ask questions, but ask them like you're honestly curious, not like you're building up to a point. Try, how do you feel after you hang out with them online? Do you feel included or just noticed? Are these people showing up for you offline too? Simple. No pressure questions. Because once your kid starts making the distinction between attention and affection, between likes and support, everything starts to make more sense. They realize some people are there for the highlight reel, not the hard stuff. Some messages feel good in the moment, but leave them feeling hollow after. And some friendships are really just digital habits. You're not telling them who to trust. You're helping them build the skill to figure it out on their own. How they feel after matters most. Here's something that doesn't get said enough. Most kids don't know how to tell the difference between being included and being valued. And honestly, a lot of adults don't either, because social media blurs that line so easily. A message, a tag, a comment, it all feels like something. But something isn't always the same as support. So when your kid says, they talk to me every day, but still seems drained or anxious afterwards, that's your signal. You don't need to diagnose it. You just need to help them notice the feeling after. How do you usually feel when you've been talking to them? Does it feel like you're being heard or just reacting back and forth? Do you feel better or kind of invisible? Keep it gentle. This isn't an interrogation. It's more like helping them read the room, except the room is digital now. And once they start paying attention to that after feeling, something shifts. They start noticing when they're overextending themselves just to keep a friendship going. They start realizing that some connections feel more like obligations. They stop mistaking constant activity for actual closeness. That's evolution. Quiet, necessary evolution. They're not ghosting. They're growing boundaries. And that's your win, by the way. When your kid quietly starts spending more time with someone who makes them feel calm or slowly stops replying to the friend who always makes things dramatic, you don't need to step in. You already helped. You helped them trust their own radar. Quick pause. If this hit a little too close, tap like so the algorithm knows we're all parenting in the group chat era. Burnout in their back pocket. One of the hardest parts about growing up today is that there's no off switch. Friendship used to have natural pauses. You left school, went home, and that was it. But now, the group chat never really ends. There's always something. A snap streak to keep alive. A post to respond to. Someone checking who saw what. And if your kid doesn't reply fast enough, someone notices. Or worse, someone makes it personal. It's not always outright bullying. Most of the time, it's low-level pressure. Silent expectations to be emotionally available all day, every day. It's tiring, even for adults. So for a developing mind, it's a recipe for burnout. That's why your kid sometimes snaps for no reason, or suddenly wants to delete everything. That's why they ghost people they like, or get overwhelmed over nothing. It's not the conversation itself. It's the constantness of it. So, what can you do? You normalize rest. You remind them they don't have to be reachable 24/7 to be a good friend. You give them language if they need it. Like, hey, I'm logging off for a while. Just need some space. Not ignoring you, just not feeling chatty today. Be back later. Taking a phone break. Because setting boundaries doesn't mean shutting people out. It means trusting that your friendships can survive silence. And if they can't, that's not on your kid. That's not being rude. That's learning to rest. Exit the drama spiral. It starts with a vague story post, then a screenshot, then a private message. And suddenly, your kid's caught in a full-blown mess about who meant what, and whether that TikTok was about them. But here's the part they don't see, and where you come in. You help them step back from the spiral. Not by saying, just ignore it, because, let's be honest, that doesn't work. You help by asking calmly, do you think this situation deserves all your energy? Not in a dismissive way, in a real, respectful way. Because drama isn't just annoying, it's rewarded by the algorithm. Conflict keeps engagement high. So your kid's stuck between their emotional peace and the pressure to respond. They need permission to disengage, to say, I'm not getting involved in this, to stop replying, to not post back, to walk away, even if it feels unresolved. That's not weakness, that's maturity. And when they learn to walk away from drama before it turns into a week-long mental drain, that's a win. For them, for their friendships, for their nervous system. What real connection looks like. Here's the part that's both comforting and kind of hard to accept. The friends that matter most to your kid, they're probably not the loudest ones in their notifications. They're the ones who notice when your kid seems off and text anyway. They're the ones who still want to hang out in person, even when there's nothing to post. They're the ones who don't care if your kid misses a day online, because the connection doesn't rely on presence. It relies on care. That's what you want to help them recognize. You don't need to make a list. You don't need to name names. You just gently point them back toward this one question: which friendships make you feel the most like yourself? Because that's the goal. That's the compass. Not likes, not followers, not perfectly worded messages, just the quiet confidence that someone sees them, not as a profile, not as a reply, but as a person. And when your kid starts moving towards those friendships, even slowly, even awkwardly, that's how you know you're doing this right. Not by fixing everything, but by helping them feel what matters. If this helped, even a little, hit like or send it to another parent trying to decode their teenager. And if they ever cry over an unliked Instagram post again, you'll know what to say. Even if all you say is, "Yeah, that sucks." That connection, that's everything.